Amid fears of global warming, a distinct chill has come over the scientific community, both here and around the world.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump says he has an open mind when it comes to the issue of climate change. His appointments appear openly hostile to addressing the problem. Some are even looking to defund ongoing research to monitor environmental changes. Here to talk about it, Jeffrey Kluger, Time Magazine's editor-at-large. Jeffrey, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, how concerned is the scientific community about the changes in the administration?
The community is concerned, and it should be concerned. Look, global warming is an established fact. It's immutable, it's non-negotiable, it's not subject to politics. Global warming doesn't read tweets. It doesn't care about who won the Electoral College vote. It's an immutable bit of science. And what we're seeing is an administration that is choosing to appoint people who are hostile to that very idea, who at best will dodge it by saying, well, I'm not a scientist, I don't know. Well, then listen to the scientists, 97% of whom say that global warming is real, it's happening, and it's a deadly threat.
Jeffrey, what about the discrepancy between the agency heads and the thousands of civil servants who actually staff these agencies and have done a large part of the climate work for the Obama administration?
Well, this is what we're seeing, and there is some hope here because a lot of these people are lifetime civil servants. They have the power of slowdown. They have the power of, for lack of a better term, passive aggression. Of course, they're required to obey their superiors, but there is work that's done zealously in pursuit of a good cause, and then there's work that's done grudgingly. And there's a quiet power in civil servants here, but we're seeing some danger already. The Trump Transition Committee has already sent a 74-question questionnaire to the Department of Energy.
Which they push back on, though.
They push back on, yes, and that's a good thing. They said these are civil servants doing their job. So no, we're not going to give you the names of people who attended UN conferences on climate change. We're not going to give you the names of people who have studied the social cost of carbon, because that's an important study, and these people are doing their jobs. But it still will have a chilling effect.
I want to ask you about the Paris Agreement, Jeffrey. President-elect Trump said he plans to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, which is the most significant international agreement on climate change, correct?
Right.
First of all, can he? And secondly, what would be the impact if he did?
Well, those are two very good questions, and they're a little bit complicated. It is easier to withdraw from than if it were a law passed by Congress and signed into law by the president, but it is slightly harder than overturning a presidential executive order. The president can withdraw from it 3 years after implementation with 1 year's notice. So going by the rules we agreed to when we agreed to the accord, we have at least 4 years belonging to it. He could take a fast track and withdraw from it immediately with 1 year's notice, but that also means withdrawing from the overarching UN framework on climate concerns.
What about the fact that President-elect Trump has said he'll scrap the President Obama's Clean Power Plan? How effective can he be in unwinding that? Has industry not already moved forward to some degree on this?
Industry has already moved forward, and this is a good thing because this is where you see the power of the market, which conservatives purport to like, and we all should like the power of the market. That has already moved ahead to adapt to a clean energy environment. Coal-fired plants, according to this rule, are required to upgrade their equipment. Now, it's already being appealed. The law, the regulation is being appealed by people like Scott Pruitt, who is the new head of the EPA.
Yeah.
And if the D.C. Circuit Court overturns the regulation, that'll be it. It'll be overturned. If they uphold it, then the Trump administration will probably appeal it to the Supreme Court.
One last thing, Jeffrey, quickly, if you would. If the president-elect does pull out ultimately of the Paris Agreement, what would the impact of that be?
Well, it would be a little bit less than it would have been a few years ago when the U.S. had 4% of the world's population but produced 23% of its greenhouse gases. Currently, we're down to about 17%, but that still means that the countries that are abiding by it would be starting in a 17% hole, since we would be saying we're not going to participate.
All right, Jeffrey Kluger, thanks so much for being with us this morning.